Could you please introduce yourself?
Oh, yes, sorry. I'm Natalie Lewis Schere. I'm the executive director and co-founder of Path, preserving, archiving, and teaching hip hop based in Miami, but really doing work anywhere work is to be done. So we're at PATHTOHIPHOP, Path to Hip Hop on all socials.
I'm a huge fan.
I'm a huge fan too. Thanks. This is hilarious, by the way. Like when I think about our life together, like what are we doing right now? Having a blast on video. Let's go.
Was that your real background?
Nobody puts baby in a corner. Yeah, this is the corner of our guest room right now. Wait, are you still hear the echo?
No, you're good.
Okay, I do have all of my windows open, so if the wind or the crickets or the chickens or whatever start to get disruptive, you just let me know.
Well, this is all right. This is a big deal. This is a bucket list moment for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me take this off. I'm telling you, because I've known you for.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh. Over 20 years.
Yeah, I met you in like '95.
I'm asking you a crucial question though. Are we old?
Close enough. We're on the young side of old. We're on the we.
Get it.
All right, this is so I'll quickly announce you. So basically, I'm doing my big three. I'm changing it up. I'm just talking about my favorite things are music, movement, and food. But then I like to talk to you about your favorite things as well, and really just
whiskers on Tins.
Yeah, and just dive into your mind, because so you're we got to give background to this because this is like you're one of the people that I've wanted to share with you and your sister because I met your sister in college, and then you came and visited her in college, and we became tight.
Yeah. Rolling in your caddy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I had a big Cadillac.
Those were the days. Yes,
oh, you met me when I had dreadlocks and a Cadillac.
Yeah, and flu vogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jesus. And you were going to that school of math and science. You were a math geek, and then you ended up in Rhode Island.
But did you end up returning to Pensacola to live? Because I know while I was
just for a second, you guys came and visited.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know I came to Pensacola, spent time in your father's home. Like I spent time with you in Pensacola, not just in Rhode Island. So
you actually came out. We were sitting in the driveway hanging out, and you actually came out of my house, and you're like, something about like, I think I'm gonna hook up with your dad. Your dad is awesome.
Oh my gosh.
He says.
Yeah. He was awesome, and I used to love chilling with that dude. Man.
Yeah,
he was great.
Yeah, he really liked you. Yeah.
Memories.
And you're now in. Let's go through the whole thing. You're a sick musician.
I don't know about that anymore.
Yeah.
But
what do you play?
I still like to play. I mean, I play the bass. I play guitar. I fake guitar. I don't really play guitar. I play keys, piano, little mallet, xylophone, marimba, bells type vibes. And every once in a while, I'll play the harmonica or the ukulele.
Yeah.
That's a total lie. I don't play the harmonica or the ukulele. Those other things, I dabble. And the truth is, after supporting artists for the last 20 years and developing their creative practice and doing their thing, unfortunately, I have been neglectful of my own, but I still, pick them up and do my thing when I need it.
Right. Yeah, you were playing for your church, piano and stuff.
Back in the day, I played for the choir at my school, played in a punk band, a little bass. And since then, I just really do it for myself, or my husband and I, we jump in the studio, rock out every once in a while.
Where are you right now? Are you in Miami?
Yeah, I'm in Miami. I actually was supposed to go to Alabama yesterday.
Let's get down to brass tacks.
Sorry. Yeah.
No. I can sit here and catch up with you for a million years, but so everything that I'm into, you kind of do. And so you have an organization that does what? What is this?
Great question. So I run a nonprofit in Miami. We also do work in Washington and Arizona. Mm-hmm. And we're really a intercultural, intergenerational, multicultural Skillshare collective. Mm-hmm. So focus on creative, personal, and professional development for people of all ages. And that manifests itself through youth programs, mentorships, internships. We also partner with community organizations, colleges, universities, and for-profit businesses to bring art to non-traditional spaces. We also do work in therapeutic settings, working with people who are dealing with mental health co-occurring disorders, particularly connected to substance abuse intervention and prevention. And then we also have an archive where we collect works of art, artifacts of various types, specifically preserving hip-hop culture.
Oh, wow. Who did that behind you?
I love doing this. This is a Trek 6 original on a door. Yeah, I would say Trek 6, he's Miami-based graffiti writer. Both my husband and I are also collectors. So we collect a lot of work specifically of graffiti writers from Miami and other places. But, you know, our home is full of canvases, doors, paintings of various types, other little works. We have Alex Yanis here. We collect all sorts of things. Paintings on guitars.
I have a question. Wait, what is this? Let me see.
I was just showing more of the artwork.
What do you got?
A little FL Mingo on a guitar here.
That's...
Oh man, whatever. We got whatever you're looking for, we got it. Well, as long as it's legal.
But I have a question.
I hope I have an answer.
When I knew you, I was convinced you were going to be like a physicist or like a mathematician or like an aerospace engineer or something, because you were like Ivy League in it. You're at Brown University. You went to Rhode Island to Brown, and you showed up there right kind of when I left.
Yeah. My first year, I think you all were in your senior year, my freshman year.
Yeah, and then I was convinced that you were going to be in a lab coat or like some kind of like thing, and then next thing you know, you were.
I'm sorry, I got to tell you what I was just thinking.
What?
Like, man, I should have like worn my lab coat or my or my NASA flight suit or something to really bring a vibe. No, yeah, sorry.
Well, I remember when I went to Huntsville to hang out with you guys. I was lost, so I called you guys from space camp.
Yes. Listen, this whole conversation can't just be you and I just cracking up laughing at the crazy memory.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So I was like, I'm lost. I don't know what landmark I could call from. I'm going to space camp. So I went to space camp. And
find a big rocket and just go stand in there.
Yeah, so I was flying around on the simulator. I was on one of those simulators. Basically we'd all die if I was ever in space. So, but what got you into? Because then next thing you know, you have a recording studio in Sierra Leone, and then you're all in the music world, and then I start working in the hip hop world, and then I talk to you, and now you're and you're doing all this stuff. And all right, so how did you go from like the Brown University, I'm going to be a aerospace NASA, into this? How did that happen?
That's such a great question. I frequently ask myself the same question. So I went to Brown actually studying neuroscience. My hope was to be a surgeon. And the real answer is, at some point I realized that wasn't really the path. Mm-hmm. And although at the time it seemed like it was, I think I just got a little bit burnt out on the math and science tip. Like, I did it so intensely, went to boarding school day in, day out. This is what I did. And I got to school and realized I had a lot of other passions and interests. I mean, I'm a creative and I'm an entrepreneur. And unfortunately, I think at the time, conversations around being a left and right brainer or being into math and science, and also, engaging your creativity. Although everybody says the best way to get into medical school or to law school is to, have creativity in your background, because I'm a problem solver.
Right.
I think that sort of flows throughout is problem solving. So, yeah, I think I just got a little burnt out, and I think I found other passions, and I found mentors who helped me uncover those things. And, of late, when I reflected on that time in my life, I realized, like, my mom, I don't know if you know this about her, in fact, my mom is an artist.
Yeah.
And I think that she would ever, like, publicly proclaim herself to be an artist.
Right.
But, growing up, we were in theater, we were in dance, we were into music. But she painted, and we still have paintings in the house in Huntsville of her work. And, we spent our nights in craft shops while she did ceramics and, created. She was a creator.
Yeah.
She was very creative and inspired us to be creative. And although that's what I did most of my life, when it came down to, like, the decision making, math and science was the direction I thought I chose. But I ended up studying international political economy because I was interested in what was happening globally, and probably also the connection to the Caribbean and just travel in general. Inspired that, but even that wasn't where I landed necessarily. So the real answer is I have absolutely no idea. I have absolutely no idea. It happened. It happened. I think, this ended up being my path. There were a lot of choices, and this is where I landed. I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Young people. And this organization has been the way to really pass that on.
Yeah, you've been one of the one people in my life that I've never been able to. I understand you on a level as a person in the way that I've never been able to pin you down, but but I think that's kind of where, like, the magic of you and the magic of, like, the way, I mean, because the second we met, we were just like buds, and then, I mean, it's kind of been that way ever since. But I think it has a lot to do with every time I talk to you, I'm like, where the hell are you? Like, you're in Antigua, you're in Africa, you're in Huntsville, you're all over the place. And then, but I like this. We need more people that can illustrate what it means to be intelligent and grab math and science and then still put it into art. And yeah, you're doing that. I love that.
I love it too. It's a lot of fun. I recently, side note, part of our COVID adaptation was to move all of our programs online. So we've been online sessions since March, pretty much. Okay. And we have brilliant artists and creatives on our team. And for round 2, everyone on my staff was encouraged to take a course. So I took the visual art course because that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I could fit in my schedule.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed doing that work with Crave, who's also a Miami graffiti writer.
Okay.
I did a piece on the spread of COVID.
Okay.
And so it was exciting for me because although I was doing work that was visually creative, I also sort of bridged the gap between my interest in math and science, epidemiology, public health, and just took maps of the virus and turned them into, like, a cityscape. So it was interesting to just have the opportunity to do that, have a little fun, get a little bit.
All right, one of my questions that I really love is you may think but really. So the way a lot of people look at Miami, what is the you may think but really about Miami?
You may think that it's not, but it really is Miami Vice. all day, every day. You had
to, right before I called, they're like, take off your white blazer with the sleeves pulled. You had it. Okay,
I had on straight turquoise and pink galore. I decided to tone it down with a little bit of black here.
You have rollerblades on right now?
Am I with you right now? Because if I'm not, the answer would be no to that one. But just you wait. You wait. M-A-T to the 4th.
Yes.
Okay, so sorry.
What is it? So what's the you may think but really about Miami?
Wow. you may think that life here is all about South Beach and luxury vehicles and living the dream and having the time of your life. But really, most of us are really just here grinding, trying to escape the snow. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's why I'm here at least.
My movement is martial arts. What is yours? What do you like to do for movement?
The majority of my movement includes gardening and strolling around my garden.
What are you growing out there?
Great question. You ask really great questions. We have papaya. We have banana. Do you know ackee? Ackee, it's like
no.
a combination Jamaican culture. You should try it.
Okay.
A lot of people use it as like an alternate vegetarian alternative to eggs. So we have ackee, tamarind. We just pulled up some cassava. We have beans growing. We have lots of aloe growing right now. I'm eager to plant some okra. We have also coconut trees growing.
You do? Literally?
Yeah.
Jesus. That's amazing.
Yeah. We have an avocado that sort of overhangs, but the half that hangs over into our yard, it feeds the animals in our yard. So yeah, I think that's all we have going on right now. We haven't put down our winter crop yet, so if you ask me this like a month from now, I would have more things to tell you.
When I was in Miami, the thing that I noticed about it was, it was when I went down there, I was like, it's the tropics. Like I don't think we realized it because it's, I was gonna move there before I moved here. Like that was where I was supposed to be, and then you what?
Made a big mistake.
You think so? I think I did.
No.
Right now, I would love to be in Miami because I want to go swimming so bad. And
I don't think I've ever seen you live this long in a place since I've known you.
No.
This is the longest.
Almost 20 years.
Has it been that long?
I moved here in 2002. Yeah. 18 years.
Now I'm interviewing you. Sorry.
No, this isn't an interview. This is just me talking to you. When I did the big three, I was talking to this guy and he was just like, just tell me 3 things you could talk endlessly about. And that's what I came up to. It's like, so like, what are 3 things that you could just talk endlessly about? I'm interviewing you. I'm holding your feet to the fire.
My 3 things.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are your 3 things?
You just asked me about movement. You didn't ask me about the rest of them. So
we'll get there. But I want to know the 3 things that you could talk infinitely about.
The problem is I'm going to start naming, and then I'm going to name 3 times 5 times 7
That's
times
good.
8.
Yeah. Mine's movement. Yours first one is what? Go.
Music.
Ooh.
Music, probably.
All right. What about music? Playing music, listening to music, buying music, making music?
All of the above.
Mm-hmm.
All of the above. A major anchor for me is like recalling my childhood. I always laugh with Papa Lou, who's my father, about coming into a dimly lit living room, and he's sitting by himself, just listening to vinyl. Just listening. Those were the days when people actually sat down and listened to vinyl. Yeah. So I grew up in a home where like vinyl was on rotation. He built speakers, and he's into he's a high fidelity man from as long as I can remember. So the listening part is really important to me. Everywhere I go, you got to have a good sound system.
Yeah.
So yeah, listening, digging in the crates, wherever we go. Grim and I find a record store and we get busy. So finding music, listening to music, collecting vinyl, playing music, finding samples for, productions that we hopefully will eventually make.
Is there anyone I need to be listening to now?
There are so many.
Yeah.
Recently, I actually started working on a beat last weekend, and I was looking for samples. And I checked everything from like Alice Coltrane. You know Alice Coltrane?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anything from Alice Coltrane to like Mussorgsky and Rachmaninoff,
Whoa.
classical stuff from back in the day.
Yeah.
But what stays on rotation in my house is primarily reggae.
Okay.
Although we are hip hop preservation people, reggae is really the place where Seth and I meet mostly. So
help me with reggae.
Okay, sure. That depends on what you're into.
Well, I'm into anything that isn't so I did play a show with Damian Marley.
Yeah, he's bad.
Or was it Ziggy? One of the Marleys. And then whenever I go to, so when I'm hanging out around reggae, it's rarely my thing because it's kind of like when you go to the Quarter, it's always just Stormy Monday, or if you go to, Pensacola, Florida, it's just Brown Eyed Girl and Mustang Sally, right? So it's kind of like it's the same three songs no matter what. And so reggae is, I think, one of the hardest types of music for me to differentiate between because it's usually in the background and I'm not around it enough. All right, so where should I start other than, because Bob Marley, you got to admit, is just an amazing songwriter and he kills it.
Yeah.
But who else?
Without a doubt. So I was raised on a lot of Mighty Diamonds.
Okay.
Jimmy Cliff.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Jimmy Cliff. Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy Cliff. I definitely recommend Augustus Pablo.
Okay.
Pablo Augustus. What do you call this? A melodica player.
Okay.
And just really soulful, foundation, rootical, lovely, just a lovely artist if you just like want background, because it's like lyrical content in his work. I also am a fan of the I3s, again, connecting to Bob Marley and the Wailers. I just love everything about them, their style, the harmonies, the melody and harmony that they brought to the Wailers and Bob Marley's work.
The I3s?
The I3s, yeah.
Okay.
They were the background vocalists.
Oh, yeah.
His wife and the two sisters. I also really love this sister named Queen Ifrica out of Jamaica. She's been around for a while, but just super tough, dope woman. Mm-hmm. Lyrically on point, her voice is amazing. So I listen to her quite a bit. And then, there are other, foundation works. I think the beauty of reggae music is that it's had enough of a history to go through some iterations and also to have like some variety. So, there's like roots reggae, there's dancehall reggae, there's conscious reggae. There are sort of other iterations that have sort of shown up more recently. I also love Damian Marley. I think he's just he's an incredible vocalist. He's, his message is powerful. He's very consistent. And to me, that's one of the things I can definitely respect and appreciate. I was DJing in the late 90s, early 2000s. So that was the period of like Sizzla, Capleton, just artists who were like in our age group and just really bringing a whole lot of fire at the time. So I still go back to Junior Kelly. That's what I listen to when I really want to turn up and get busy. But I would say, like, if you're looking to listen to something, I always love the Mighty Diamonds, Steel Pulse, Third World.
Ooh, yeah, I know those.
Yeah, and even to Africa, Lucky Dube, Culture, Love Culture. They were produced by a female producer in Jamaica, Sonia Pottinger, who died recently. I followed her for years and just, really respect that when there weren't a lot of women in the industry, she was doing her thing. So, yeah, Culture is a major one.
Culture.
Burning Spear. What am I saying? Burning Spear? Yeah. Anyway, this is what I'm saying. I could keep going, and this is just reggae. So.
This is?
Alpha Blondie. So many. Anyway. See, if I had known that we were doing all of this, I would have set up in another room and we could have just gone through, picked out a few.
One day, I know you. Anytime. Yeah. I mean, anytime, because This is something important because there are certain types of music, just like blues, just like anything, where there's this surface, and then you got to get in there. Like I remember hearing like an actual kind of punky ska band, and it was so different than ska that I had like a legit old school ska band versus a like the modern kind of stuff. And then like I'm listening to this guy right now. Someone turned me on, and it's not music that I'd be really into, but it's this guy Frank Taylor, and he's just like an Irish or British, I think he's Irish, and kind of like a folk singer, but I've never heard a person cover more ground musically than this guy. Like every album, he's just in a completely new space, and I love people like that. He's so real, and you can't put him anywhere. I bet that was the magic of Bob Marley. I had a guy he was a record collector. I lived with him in New Jersey, and his whole thing was everything Bob Marley. And he had single pressings where it's just like there's only one in the studio, and then he has one of all these songs, and he would the songwriting ability of him. And so it's like I didn't even put him as reggae. I put him as a songwriter, like because and I like the reggae that like the only stuff that I related to was at that time like I listened to most of the music on the road, so it wasn't background. It was turned all the way up, and I was just driving, and that's what I liked about Bob Marley was the message and the production. It was a little bit more analog.
Yeah.
Some of the newer reggae, even the Damian Marley stuff, when I was trying to get into it around like 2008, it was a little too club produced, so it was hard for me to get behind it.
Yeah, sure. Sort of like in some artists still travel with live bands, and I think that's great. But it's true. It's I was saying that reggae has gone through an evolution. We often think of it as live music,
right?
Live it's performed, but a lot of the production is happening digitally. If you see them live, you'll catch the band, but a lot of
I used to feel for my drummer Chad. He was in tons of reggae bands, and
Chad. I know Chad.
You know Chad, and he was in tons of reggae bands, and I used to always just feel sad because they would play with these legit reggae guys, but then there's always that moment of every night when they're just playing in a crappy Florida bar where they gotta like hit like the tide is high and then ain't nothing gonna break in my stride. You know what I mean? But
yeah, and most assuredly, listen, when you're playing to you're playing to a diverse crowd, you gotta hit it. You know?
You have to.
P.S. Just so you know, and I'm sure you already know this, Don't Stop Believin' is the party rocker, no matter where you are.
You know that I played with the guitar player Neil Sean, right? He sat in with I had a I'm in a little bar playing, and I had this little project Octopus Fights, and I'm playing with this guy Sean, and he played drums and sang, and I played guitar and sang, or I played bass and sang, and this guy comes up and he goes, "Hey, my buddy wants to sit in with you guys. He thinks you're great. He loves your voice." And he's like, "Trust me, you want him." He's like, "You'll like it." And I was like, "Oh, fine." And so he just brought a guitar and a little amp in, and just shredded. And I was like, "What?" Oh, and then so we were talking back and forth, and we were shooting the shit for a while, and I called him up, and we were hanging out, and then I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I love playing with you guys," and we had this really cool conversation, and then I was like, "Well, anytime you want to jump back on, come and play with us." And he's like, "Well, I'm going on tour with my band." And I was like, "Who's your band?" He's like, "Journey." And I was like, "Oh shit."
Like, no, for real, who's your band?
I was like, it was crazy. But it was because I was always really self-conscious about my voice. I've never. It's weird because like I feel that's one of the things that always kept me from actually being a successful musician on the level that I wanted to be at, was the fact that I was never a fan of mine. And so therefore I think you kind of have to make the record that you want to listen to, and I could never do that. Only recently that I'm removed and don't even look. If you were to look around, if I were to turn this camera around right now, there's just guitars everywhere because I'm just selling all of my stuff right now. I'm keeping one guitar and I'm keeping one amp, and that's it. Because I don't gig anymore. But now that I'm about 4 years out of gigging, I heard myself, and I was like, oh, okay. I don't hate it as, it's like, I think all my expectations are gone now. So it's nice. I'm now a fan of my music. Like
I
even the
love.
song that I play as the intro tracks to most of my record, they're all me. Like it's all the band, and so it's kind of funny now that I'm not playing.
That is funny. That is funny. Do you think that that has to do with like just evolution, maturity, sort of realizing and accepting oneself, or has something changed about your voice, or like what happened for you?
I don't know. I think I accept me now. I think I've been around. I think now I hear the authenticity of it. Like I'm very, it's like I had that, the ego wouldn't let me disguise my voice. The ego made me just be like, this is what I sound like, so this is what I'm gonna do, right? And this is the way I'm gonna perform it, and this is the way we're gonna. And my producer, my buddy Charlie, he just turned the mic on, and I was always as bare and as naked as it can get. And out of all the traveling I did, a lot of the records that were hitting at the time, Auto-Tune was coming out, all these things. So it was like, the crowds that I was playing for, oftentimes they're just not, our ears aren't EQ'd for that sound. And now it's a little bit more, I'm hearing it more, and it sounds a little bit more, it sounds current now. It didn't sound, it's like, when things come on and then yours come on, it sticks out on a level to where you're like, it kind of shocked me, but now it doesn't do that anymore. So there's that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do you still play every day?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've been playing. Yeah. I mean, that's why I like this quarantine. Sit around and play.
You get to do your thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I just get to play. Are you playing?
More now than I did before.
Okay.
More now than I did before. I think quarantine probably has something to do with it. But I think also just the recognition, too, that I've got to take better care of myself. And sort of the creative neglect that I've been experiencing over the last 2 decades hasn't really done me very well. So
yeah,
I know that I find a lot.
Do you write songs?
Funny you should ask, because I used to.
Uh-huh.
And then maybe like 2 months ago, I wrote a song. And, it felt really good. It felt really good. It felt really good to write the song. It felt good to sing the song. It felt good to play the song. It's just guitar and vocals. So I generally don't. Like, I used to rhyme, so I wrote rhymes. Then I stopped performing and, again, supported other people in their creative journey.
Yeah.
Which often meant just not getting involved in the journey myself.
When you would support, does this mean you would support them? Because I know you help promote and then build businesses, but did you also jump on and because I've had a secret dream of one day you would be playing the bass with me, and I wouldn't even be able to make it through a song. I would just be like, I wouldn't stop. I literally wouldn't stop pointing at you.
Oh my gosh, what kind of song would that be, right? That's the ultimate drum and bass. We should do it. We should definitely do it.
I would.
We should.
I wouldn't even know what to do. I know. Yeah. Sorry, I know exactly what to do. I know exactly. Yeah.
Tell me exactly what to do. What would you do?
Well, I have some just like really vibey stuff, and yeah, I know the song.
Okay, let's get it.
Yeah. There's
acoustic or electric? What do you have in? I mean, bass. Acoustic or electric bass? What do you think?
It's on you. It's on you. It's whatever you want.
I think because my beginnings were playing, the upright.
Yeah, you're an upright bass player.
That's where I feel most comfortable. So
that was so funny because I was like, you were like this skinny, and then you had all these giant instruments.
That's true. No, man, that's true. That's true. My parents often remind me, like when we start going through the stories that we tell around the dinner table. We often tell the story of trading in the vehicle, like a regular sedan, or the mini. So all my life, my family had these large vehicles, SUVs, minivans, all of those things. I mean, I drove a minivan because I had to carry my.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so strange, but that's what happened. That's definitely what happened.
What about?
And it fostered my love for, vehicles that are probably too large and shouldn't even be on the road. But hey.
Well, there's a special kind of person because I know that feeling when I remember seeing a friend pull up and he's like just super cool and he pulls up in this awesome minivan and you could always tell the musicians because we're like, oh, your mini we're so into the minivan and everyone else is like, oh, I'd never drive a minivan, and I'm like, I would kill for that's the new Nissan, like we're just so
For sure. It's like, why are you a teenager driving a minivan?
Yeah.
You're not a mom with a soccer mom. I'm like, yeah, you're right, I'm not, but this is what I'm doing. So it's the only thing that can carry our things. So
yeah,
we gotta do what we gotta do.
Yeah, I mean, my nerves when I would be loading my Cadillac up, like putting an amp in the back of that car, that Cadillac was too. I didn't, I mean, loading up those back seats. I mean, I didn't want to tear it up. I didn't want to tear my angel ceiling.
Who does that, bro? Who does that?
Yeah. For the folks at home, my ceiling of my Cadillac was a white on white angels tapestry. It was like a tapestry of angels. So when you sat in it, you would look up and there were angels.
Oh.
It was pretty magical. I want to talk about there is a part of my conscience that so I love stereos, and I sat down and just listened to your dad talk to me about the importance of like a proper stereo system, and
shocking.
That guy, yeah. I mean, how much of that is in you? How much of that is? How much of that?
Papa Lou, Sam Lewis, you gotta love him. So I feel like I keep answering questions partially, so I'm gonna try to like stay focused and do this.
Okay.
So this is like the other half of the answer to my mom was an artist, and my father is a scientist. He's a calibrator engineer.
Yeah.
All of those things, and I would say there's some of that in me, but and I guess the truth is I love a good sound system. I love a good sound system. When I was DJing, you build the sound. Part of Caribbean culture and like the reggae culture is like the sound clash, and you gotta have tons of bass, tons of mids, tons of highs, and that tons of bass mostly.
Yeah.
So in that period of my life, I feel like that's when I was really most excited about it. But even now, again, like we have a sound system. We have a room that's dedicated to listening to music in our home right now. So although I probably didn't realize it myself, but I'm his daughter through and through.
Yeah.
The last conversation we had, he was telling me about speaker stands that he built and how he can't wait for me to get there so we can listen to some music together. And that's the nature of my life with my father. We rock out.
So you can talk endlessly about music, and I love that. Yep. And you just inspired me. I'm gonna listen to reggae now. It's like summer's kind of coming to the end out here, so I got to figure out how much I got to put on some reggae and clean. This is what I'm gonna do.
I'll also make a playlist. I'll make a playlist for you and send it.
Oh yeah, all right. And then what's
all the way to now?
You'll what?
Well, I'll start like with classics and just bring it to the present.
Okay.
The journey.
And then what's the third thing you could talk? My third thing I can talk about is food. I mean, we hung out when I was in culinary school a lot. I met your sister in culinary school. I believe the way I met your sister
oh no
was we were in the library and I was borrowing a laptop. And
but there were laptops back then?
It was like this thick. and I had to get up and like look for a book, and I remember your sister was just sitting next to me, and I went, "Hey, excuse me, could you watch my laptop?" And I said something like, "If anyone comes near, just hit him in the throat." I said something like, "Hit him in the throat," and I go, "Unless it's my mom."
Listen, I know she knew immediately that this was a friendship that was built to last.
Ever since then, we just kind of. And ever since then, I have loved her with all of my heart.
I love her too, and she loves you too. We all do.
Yeah, yeah.
in my house, you're still referred to as Odd Socks Matt.
I am the Odd Socks boy.
Not Matt. Odd Socks Matt or Odd Socks boy. Yeah. Cheers, man. Can't live it down. Can't live it down.
All right.
Yeah.
So what's your thing? I can talk endlessly about food. What is your thing?
No, I'm definitely, and I can definitely talk about food also. Love it. 100% love it. Nature and gardening probably is my thing, like nature, agriculture, gardening, the outdoors, the science, the agriculture.
Do you cook?
I do. I do.
Yeah. Because
I
your sister's a chef. And then did you get into it through her or just through just loving all the traveling and everything you did?
No, growing up, she was definitely the one that was in the kitchen more, into baking and sort of making things. I was never into it at all. Um, and then went away to school, moved to Rhode Island. And actually, when I graduated from school and moved into my own space, I prayed one day. I was just like, I really need to be able to feed myself and the people around me. And I just prayed for inspiration. And from that day, I've just been cooking off of inspiration and having a blast in the kitchen. So I love cooking.
Like when you're with the kids, because that was one of the things that I always wanted to do with the kids, and I did it a lot with them, was we would talk about art. We would train together, and then we would talk about art and music together, and then a lot of times we would come out here, work in the garden, or we'd eat. And I know you do similar things like that with the kids.
For sure, for sure. The gardening, not so much because this is like our home.
Okay.
It's our home behind
Yeah.
the garden. But last summer we had a great time, like visiting a community garden. And a lot of the young people are into sustainability
Mhm.
and talk about gardening. And we talk about sort of food. We talk about it from the point of view of sustainability. Like, how do you not just sustain yourself by growing and producing your own food, but how does the food that you eat affect every part of you, spiritually, emotionally, physically, all of those things. So, yeah, I mean, and then we also have a granola jam that happens when our alum come home from college. They come over and we do a granola bar. So that's our thing.
If you were to take me anywhere to eat in Miami, where would it be?
Great question.
Thank you.
Sad reality. I know I keep saying that. Sad reality. Coming from Rhode Island, where there's a lot of really great food, I came to Miami expecting, and this is probably what I should have said. You may think that Miami is full of culture and amazing food, and it's really not.
Oh.
Yeah, and I imagine maybe if I had the resources to eat in some of the places that are the best places in Miami to eat, my response to that would be different. But overall, I've been like pretty disappointed in the food in Miami. So if I were to take you somewhere, it would probably be to my kitchen. Not because I'm the bomb chef or anything like that, but I would definitely want to feed you like from my garden, from our kitchen. But a place that we love a lot is Awash, Ethiopian. So I'd probably take for Ethiopian food.
We have good Ethiopian out here too, and
I bet
I mean, I like the Florida stuff. I like the cooking with fruit and stuff like that. What did you think when you were living up in Washington? What did you think? How was it up there?
Clean, super clean eating, a lot of clean living. Washington was interesting. We spent time in both Spokane and then on the west side, like south of Seattle.
How did you do in the cold?
I stink in the cold, man.
Yeah,
I left Rhode Island because I just couldn't take waking up crying every day. Honestly, and then my tears would freeze on my face. Just not do it another year of my life. So yeah, I mean, I ran as far south as I could. I wanted to be as close to the Caribbean as possible, and this is where I landed. Yeah, Washington was rough in some ways, but it was just so gorgeous. We overlooked the cold, and we spent probably like 6 months out of the year back and forth for 2 years, and we really enjoyed the nature. We enjoyed the outdoors. We enjoyed hiking, sort of seeing new sights. And because Miami's super flat and I grew up in the mountains, that's been a struggle for me. So returning to a place that has mountains even more majestic than Alabama was really exciting.
How long were you in Antigua?
3 years.
Did you go right from Rhode Island to Antigua?
No, I went from Rhode Island to Miami. I was here for 3 years. Then I moved to Antigua for 3. And then I came back to Miami in 2012, and I've been here ever since.
What were you doing there?
In Antigua?
Yeah.
I was teaching. I was teaching, healing, just doing a detox, really, more than anything. But in terms of paying the bills, I was a teacher at an international baccalaureate school, teaching math and science, doing what I do.
That's your thing.
Yeah. I love it. I love young people. I love learning. I love teaching. To me, it's all a part of the same experience. So, yeah, Antigua's amazing. It's the place that I go to refresh, rejuvenate, heal, correct the things that aren't going so correctly.
Do you have like in this COVID now, this COVID thing is, do you have any rituals like that to keep you inspired? Do you have anything that you do like regularly that keeps you going, especially in this?
Yeah, prayer and meditation. That's
Yeah.
always that has always kept me going.
Mm.
But in a time like this, I think, there's a need for a different level of focus.
Yeah.
Because of COVID and all of the other things that are happening, and not just physically, but sort of spiritually, there are a lot of things happening for many. And so, the need to just ground has been crucial. So I would say probably the most ritualistic part of my life is my spiritual growth and development. Prayer, meditation, study is a big part of that. And service, the part of the practice for us is serving others. So
how has this been affecting the young people you work with?
The biggest issue that I've seen overall is just like the lack of social interaction. And although I think there's this impression that young people, young adults are just interested in being engaged with technology, that is the single greatest sort of complaint that I've heard from young people, that they don't really get to see many people because many of them don't drive. They're not on the move. It's not like they then sort of find a way to their friends. They're just staying home, which I mean is clearly the safest thing that they can do from like a public health perspective. But on the other hand, from a public health perspective, it's been really damaging. I think it's been rough for many of them. Amidst the uncertainty that every generation has, there's just like an added, not even layer, but like an added infrastructure of uncertainty that just makes it hard, I think, for them to stay hopeful, for them to stay motivated. But in the midst of all of that, they're so dope.
What is the big movement coming out of there? Like, is there like is there like a regional hip hop, or is there like a certain type of dance? Because I know, like Bay Area hip hop has its thing. Like, is there like a Miami style hip hop?
Sure, I'm sure there is. I mean, we are very much like a foundation hip hop organization.
Okay.
And what I think is really dope about Miami that a lot of people don't know is that we have some of the illest B-boys and B-girls in the world that have their foundation in Miami. And, there are a lot of people in Miami who don't even realize, like, there's so much B-boy, B-girl legacy in Miami. So just, regarding dance, I think there are a lot of incredible dancers who have stayed true to the foundation and, taken it and innovated, clearly, because you have to. But there's some really dope B-boys and B-girls in Miami.
Have you picked up any?
I mean, I may do a little Apache here and there with some folks. But here's the problem: as I get older, and because I have not been doing any work with the open mat, once I get to about 36 inches off the floor, there's a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Sorry. So yeah, I try to keep it, above the waist and do what I can do, my little rock in the corner. But no, I mean, the dancing is amazing. We also have a really vibrant graffiti culture. There's some, conflict around also, like you said, the commercialization of graffiti culture.
Yeah.
So, sometimes it can be hard to distinguish between like, okay, art is subjective, and I realize that. So when I say this, I'm saying this bearing in mind that graffiti artists are creating as a part of a history. It's something that folks are making up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a lot of incredible graffiti writers in Miami. I mean, there's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of creativity, and Miami is known for bass, Miami bass. And I would say that's like Miami, Miami's claim to fame.
Magic Mike.
At least in terms of music. Yeah. Luke, you know what I'm saying? We were the middle school corruptibles doing what we came to do. Two Live Crew represents, and so yeah, you know, Miami is like such an interesting place, like the intersection of culture, language, all sorts of things. We call, you know, many people say it's the Northern Caribbean, and if you want to do something illegal, come to Miami, because you may get confused about whether it's legal or not.
Cyclically, like if we just think about it, Lowrider Trucks will be back soon. Lowrider mini trucks. Are they back in Miami yet? Because I feel if it's gonna start, it's gonna either come back in,
or Miami.
In Miami, maybe Southern California, or probably a weird like Look Where Snow was really popular, like the Speed rapper, and maybe that would happen. But one of my first big threes, I was telling someone, I'm like, have you heard of bass music? And they were like, no. And I'm like, and I remember someone gave me they're just bass CDs, and it was just, you just put it in and it would just, you'd hear in the background and then just bass, just yeah.
You feel it before you hear it.
Yeah. But if we look at, you know, the 20-year cycles or whatever, 80s cars are coming back, IROCs, all these things. Like if you look at the cars that they're choosing for movies now, they're choosing those 80s cars. So that means like late 80s, early 90s was when the Lowrider mini trucks were coming around. So I think it's going to happen.
So you're making this prediction?
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to put all of my life savings on it right now. I'm putting it on the table. I think it's going to happen. Lowrider trucks, Lowrider mini trucks. So. Is it like 80 degrees there right now?
It was 90 degrees like the day before yesterday. But the night's beautiful. I mean, and as I mentioned to you earlier, I went on a stroll. We stroll most evenings, but you know, it's humid. Usually it's humid, and tonight we just have the most amazing breeze. I think brought on by a hurricane, so not the best circumstances.
So yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
And it's crazy, and I'm driving up to Alabama tomorrow, so hopefully we'll have some good weather. But yeah, Miami's beautiful. In the wintertime when it's freezing everywhere else, come to Miami. It's beautiful.
Is Anthony still ice skating?
Oh, what? So Anthony is still ice skating.
Okay.
These Corona times have been rough for him. You know, he really counts on social engagement, schedules, that kind of thing.
Right.
So he's been out of ice skating since March and just went back, I think, just a few weeks ago. So that has definitely been the talk of the family of late. So, you know, he's stayed engaged. Like he's a part of a group that did Zoom sessions. And so he got his taste of Zoom a couple of times a week, singing, hanging out, doing crafts, making things. But yeah, he is still ice skating.
I was talking about him the other day, and I was talking about how you just are from this weird exceptional family of just exceptional people, and I was talking about him, and was he like a Special Olympics champion?
Oh yeah, many times.
So bad.
Many times. Listen, the activity 1 year ago this time was taking all of his medals and displaying them somehow. Like,
was it all figure skating or what else? What else was he competing in?
So Anthony is a Special Olympic figure skater. He bowls. Those are his two primary things.
Bowling
right
too.
Now. Oh yeah.
Do you bowl with him?
Bowling. I've bowled with him. But listen, you can't romp with Anthony, you know. Anthony will beat everyone. So, yeah, I don't go out there and try to embarrass myself when Anthony is involved. I just stand on the sidelines and cheer and act like I know how to take score. Yeah, Anthony gets like multiple strikes a game, multiple spares a game. And I have to send you a video, because if you saw the way Anthony just like drops the ball, and you're just like, okay, that looks like it's going to stay right where it is. And then it just starts going and it takes off. And before you know it, it's over. So yeah, he bowls on a league. Those cats are called the Jelly Beans. I'm trying to design a T-shirt for them at some point soon. But yeah, bowling and ice skating are definitely his jam.
Yeah, it's so intense. Like, so I just remember meeting him and he was just so happy, and then
Yeah.
I just imagine him just shredding on the ice, and
And, he's so tall.
very
So there's
tall. Yeah, yeah.
Anthony on the ice, like it's amazing because like he pushes off and he's like halfway down the rink. So it's pretty incredible because he's figure skating. So
Yeah.
he has routines and
Mhm.
the music and the vibe and everything like that. So it's fun. It's fun. Special Olympics is an incredible organization, and I think I don't know where we would be, I'm saying my family would be without the organization because it's been a part of our life as long as I can remember and continues to be that way. So yeah, Anthony's doing his thing. I'll send you some video. It's
Oh,
wild.
I
Love
love
it.
it. I love it.
Love it. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Well, all right. I'm gonna let you get back to your life. You've inspired me once again. It's so good to see your face.
It's so good to see yours too, man. We don't, we need to. Do you
Why?
remember when we were younger and we were wondering about this future, this Jetsons future, where you'd be able to speak to someone and see them on video?
Hmm.
And we thought, oh, never in our lifetime.
Yeah. We can do that now.
Well, I was just going to say, right, we have it, and I don't think that we activate it enough. Let us know. Let us know. We may also be making the trip across to Arizona and check out all the studios along the way. So if we do.
For what? Studios for what? Make music studios?
So the substance abuse prevention and intervention work that we do out west is with a partner that used to be based in Florida. They're actually coming back to Florida now. But
Okay.
the work that we've done over the last few years is go to these sites, set up recording studios, train engineers, who are people that may or may not have music experience, but just people who are passionate, who are already working in treatment, sometimes people who are in treatment themselves.
Yeah.
And so we've been developing curriculum around therapeutic lyric writing, recording, and also instruments. So the studios have instruments set up so people can write, record, learn to play something new, record that too. And after every session, the guests are sent a copy of the song that they were part of.
How do you feel about that idea? If life is telling your story, and then that moment where people see their story, and then there's music behind it or what they want to say. I mean, how does that?
It's been life changing.
Yeah.
It's been changing for us and also for them.
Yeah.
And in addition, we actually have also a storytelling group where an individual basically tells their story to their peers and it's recorded. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. People step into the studio. I mean, we had a client who, was in probably his 50s, had lived on the streets for most of his life, not held a job or had work. And he was just like, let me go in the studio and just try this out one day. And, those are the stories, people who never imagine or dream of having something to say that anyone cared to listen to, show up, have the experience, and they just keep coming back because it's pretty amazing. I mean, the power of that experience. And I think when they hear and see their peers excited and inspired and motivated, and I think also just processing, talk therapy isn't for everyone. And I'm glad that, there are innovators like Frank Sid and Royal Life Centers who realized that there are a lot of ways that people process. And this has been a really incredible one of those ways. So,
hey,
I raise you. Who has these things? Like, why do we have globes in our house? Somebody tell me why. Look, when there's ways. Do you remember MapQuest?
Yeah.
Ways, MapQuest, move over, globes.
Okay. Ready? Spin your globe. Stop it with your finger. This is where we're going next.
The middle of the North Pacific Ocean.
Oh yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, let's start again.
Oh no! All
Yeah.
right, let's do
Okay.
it again.
All right. Ready?
1, 2, 3, roll.
Ooh. Oh, nice. Where'd you land?
If I could see it, I could tell. China.
You ever been to China?
Never. Have you?
No. I do think though this last Chinese team that I worked with, I was when I was working on the Matrix, a lot of the people came in from China, and it was in January, and I got. Yeah, they're shooting a new Matrix, and I was doing some, kind of PT stuff and body work and stuff, and training some of the guys. And I ended up getting the craziest fever and cough for like 3 or 4 days, and then right after that, the COVID thing broke out. So I think but I think a lot of people are saying I think I got COVID, and I landed in Morocco. Have you ever been to Morocco?
No, I'm voting for your find.
Morocco?
Yeah,
I've always wanted to go to Morocco. Okay.
I wanted to go to Morocco too. The architecture.
My room in there, my music room, was this bright colored. Well, it was this blue, and the way that I found the color was I went online, found a picture of the blue cities of Morocco, and I went right to Home Depot and I color matched the blue cities of Morocco.
Yes.
Let's talk. You're vegetarian though. Are you vegetarian?
Primarily.
Okay.
Primarily.
Okay. Let's talk. A really cool thing that I learned from Moroccan food is you take like spicy sausage or meat, spicy, very spicy Moroccan spiced meat, and you stuff it in a date, and you put it in batter and you fry it.
What is that called?
Spicy meat stuffed fried date.
I think I've heard of that before.
Yeah, and oh my God, this is so good. And then if you do it and you're sitting around in like the Moroccan, chairs, their furniture and the design, everything about it it reminds me how little culture I'm from.
I'm so glad that you are able to say that out loud, because a lot of people are not willing to admit that.
Yeah. How could you?
And I'm not saying I'm not saying that you come from little culture. I'm just saying, like, when you think about the richness, the texture, the color, the smells, the history. Yeah. The history. The reality is, like, we are living in a very young empire, and the time that it takes to really like develop the sense of identity and personhood and sort of transmit that from generation to generation, and the innovation. Let's be honest, Africa is amazing.
It's the richest place. One of these talks is coming up is from one of my other buddies. His father was like a tribal leader or something in the Congo, and it's just an intensity there. And he's always like, "You should come," and I'm just like, it's more of a mosquito thing. I don't think I'd be dead. And it's like an invitation to the Congo really asks you the question, how adventurous are you, little man?
No, it's true, and we got to keep it real about that too. There are ways that international travel is not what it used to be also.
And we talk about how vaccines are bullshit, but then you get invited to the Congo and you're like, okay, malaria, okay, and then we talk about this disease that is killing us, but it's like we don't talk about the deadliest thing on the planet is a mosquito. And there's it's mosquitoes, and in America it's prescription painkillers, and oh my God. But yeah, we don't really talk about that, because that is an all-encompassing thing. So yeah, but I've been invited to the Congo.
That's a whole show, the painkiller show. Also on your site, the 3 things. What did you say? Painkillers.
Oh yeah. Pain.
What naughty words I don't remember what you said.
Painkillers, the phrase "I'm just doing my job," and flu-like symptoms. Yeah, I wrote that 10 years ago.
You're so fun.
I was like, the three most dangerous things in this country are those three things: it's painkillers, the phrase "I'm just doing my job," and flu-like symptoms. And I tell everyone, man, like no one gives danger credit to flu-like symptoms because everything starts with flu-like symptoms.
Truly,
Yeah.
and that's, not be overstated in times like these, in these corona times.
Yeah.
These corona.
Yeah, stay strong. But all right, love you.
Love you too. Thank you so much for this time. Hopefully I'll see you sooner than later.